Hi, thanks again for joining me for Mindful January. This is when we are going to put some intentionality into embracing mindfulness. No. Hi, I'm Ann Chalgren. Thank you so much for joining me for Mindful January. This is where we are taking the month to embrace mindfulness and intentionality in our wine experience, fostering a deeper connection to the art, science, history, and culture of wine. So, why does mindfulness matter in wine? So, mindfulness is that aspect that we learn a lot of times in meditation, or maybe a yoga class, or maybe even a business development class, about really learning to slow down, to enjoy the process. It's all about the journey, not the destination, as they say, right? So, one of the things that I really take as a philosophy in my own life is to really, when I began learning about wine, I learned how much there actually is to it. The care that people take in making the wine. And having grown up in the Midwest, the granddaughter of farmers, all of my aunts and uncles were farmers or teachers. And, I just had an appreciation for as I started to study wine and I was able to volunteer in the vineyards and work alongside the growers, um, I've really learned about how much goes into it, whether you're on a traditional vineyard, which is kind of a strange term for that actually, but the conventional vineyard, or whether you're working with an organic grower, or even I've worked with biodynamic vineyards. And all of it is a very intentional. There's just so much that goes into it. There's generations and generations of tradition, or in the new world, there is a lot of creativity and passion. And there's just, it's something that, in my opinion, it's silly to just take a glass of wine and pick just one wine and throw it back and not give it a second thought, because there's so much that went into it. And for me, wine is like traveling without leaving home. So just like when I began to learn languages and I found out that there were words in some of the languages that I was studying that could not be translated to English, I had to learn that there are some things that are part of the culture. So by learning the language, you really understand the culture. Well, I think it's very similar with wine and food, right? You go to another country, you experience their cuisine, you experience their wine, and you learn something about them that you couldn't by just reading a book or, watching a travel show. You have to experience the the care, with wine, it can be that it almost feels like the sunshine of that summer was captured into that vintage, or you can almost taste the soil that that wine came from, or there's an elusive flavor in a wine that you're like, what is that? I've never tasted anything like that, or I've never tasted a combination like that. Like, that is so bizarre. Is that like, I don't know, some sort of berry and then with like a banana behind it? Like, what is that? To me, that's what makes wine an adventure. And I think that what I see in Western culture, especially with the binge culture, is that people tend to imbibe all types of alcohol, but I'm talking about wine specifically, that people have an approach to wine that is much more about, hey, let's escape our lives. Let's just drink a lot of wine. My kids told me now there's this thing called Blackout Friday, the week of Thanksgiving. Who knew? Um, and there's a reason why people are turning to dry January because they understand that during the holidays, they overdo it and then they don't feel great. And so they want a month to just kind of reset. So if that is something that you've decided, then respect. Um, for anyone else, though, I want to offer for anyone else who's not observing dry January, I would offer that maybe mindful January could be a great alternative. Are and for those who are observing dry January, then I would urge you to transition right then into the month of February with the practice of mindfulness and wine as you reintroduce that back into your lifestyle. So again, we all know the benefits of slowing down. We have got a world today that is going way too fast. The information is coming at us left and right. And I see that so much in our wine culture too. Everyone is trying to hurry up, get to their glass, finish their glass, get to the next glass. I also see it in, people are trying to find the best wine. Well, I only drink this label or I only drink this type of wine. And I've said it before, but to me, that's like going to the Louvre and knocking everyone down so that you can get to the Mona Lisa, taking a look at it, and then walking out the front door. Okay, so good for you. You saw the Mona Lisa, but you also missed an entire world's history art class of some of the best artwork in the world. And I think that that's kind of to me, a great metaphor for the world of wine. I mean, you go into a big box store. By that, I mean like a Total Wine or a Specs or, whatever's in your particular area. But you go into those stores and there can be over 4,000 different types of wines. So why would you ever settle for one? And again, I liken wine to art, just the same way I just compared it to artwork, paintings. I also compare it often to music. And, the example I always give is you wouldn't listen to Cyndi Lauper for every single occasion. Love Cyndi, love her music, wouldn't listen to it for every occasion. And I bet she doesn't listen to her own music for every occasion. There is a range, and wine is the exact same way. You've got so many options for all the different meals, for all the different occasions in your life, for all of the different moods that you're feeling. It's time to slow down and be mindful with what we're enjoying and to appreciate the different levels and to appreciate the different aromas, the different flavors, the different mouthfeel, all of the different sensations. And what my advanced students, the people that go on to more concentrated classes and curriculums with me, say like through the wine PhD program, what they almost always come back and tell me is they can't believe how much less wine they drink once they've been through my program. Now, they may be spending the same on their wine budget because they're starting to drink better wines and different wines, but they find that they're not drinking so much wine because they're really enjoying what they're drinking and they're enjoying the exploration of it. So I really just wanted to come on here today to talk a little bit about Mindful January, what that means to me, why I'm suggesting that it's maybe something that you try or that you adopt in this new year. And yeah, it's really just about savoring wine and savoring wine as both a sensory and a cultural experience. So I have a background in yoga and meditation. I'm certified in both. So that's part of where this comes for me. Um, there are people who knew me in my 20s that would say that I was not necessarily drinking in a slow, mindful manner. But as I have journeyed through my life, I find that those things that we pay attention to really helps to elevate the experience. When I travel, I always stop to just observe, to notice what I see, to notice what I hear, to notice what I smell. Um, you know, every place is unique, every wine is unique, and by being mindful in the way that we enjoy our wine can take our wine drinking from a casual habit to a meaningful ritual and almost to a place of, dare I say, self-care. Um, is it fosters the appreciation not only of the wine, but when we're together, when we're with our friends, when we're with our family, and we're enjoying some wine and some amazing food and fellowship and togetherness and connection. I mean, is there anything better? So, in closing, I want to encourage you to join the conversation, share your mindful wine moments, whether they be past or present, and what your personal takeaways are. Um, you can go to our Facebook page at Food, Wine, and Flavor. And from there, you can join our VIP Facebook group where we really talk, um, where you can be in a group of other wine lovers who talk and ask questions and share favorite wines and experiences. And yeah, that's not right. Okay, so I encourage you to join the conversation um, by clicking the link in the show notes to our Facebook page. So, where we're having the Mindful January conversation all through January and hopefully all through the year. Hopefully, this will be something that um, takes off and people continue to follow the mindfulness philosophy. So, oh, that's just weird. Um, so, I encourage you to join the conversation. There's some links in the show notes of how to find our Facebook page if you're not already following us, and would love to hear about your about your mindful wine moments and personal takeaways. Please use the hashtag mindful with wine. This series promotes a gentle, inspiring way to start the new year with intentionality and appreciation for the artistry of wine. So I hope you'll join us. See you next time. Okay.